Let's go straight to my next guest. He's Conservative councillor, Shadow Cabinet Member for Finance and Resources at Birmingham City Council. His name is Councillor Marion Jenkins. Very good morning to you.
Morning,
Thank you for joining us now. It's talking about Birmingham, so we know what it's talking about, and it is about the bin collections that just are not happening. On and off bin collections since the start of the year, but for the last few weeks it's been no bin collections at all. We've seen the awful footage of just bags of rotting food and just piling up in streets. Just people just go, well, we're just going to dump all our rubbish here and, well, sod the poor person who lives opposite it and is just going to have it, smelling outside their home. Is there any end in sight to this row between the bin collectors, their union, and the council?
Yeah, there's currently 21,000 tonnes of rubbish estimated to be on the streets of Birmingham. No, the dispute has been going on for some time. As you say, for the last couple of months, it's been an all-out strike. And it appears to be an intractable problem for Labour in Birmingham to solve it. And I don't think things are helped by the fact that half of the cabinet in Birmingham are members of Unite, and yet the council is in dispute with Unite.
And the Unite union is representing the bin. Now, their argument is bin men, and it's largely men, have been asked to take a 30% pay cut because Birmingham Council, of course, is in terrible financial straits. An awful lot of services being cut, council tax going up very high. Have other workers been asked to take that sort of pay cut?
No, it's somewhat more complicated than that, Julia. It goes back to the last bin strike that took place in 2017. When the then Labour administration agreed certain benefits for a group of workers. And at the time we said, if you do this, you will create an equal pay dispute further down the road. We were ignored, and now here we are seven so years later with exactly that pay dispute. And it all goes back to the problem of legislation put in place during the end of the Blair era, which meant that you could compare the pay and benefits of people doing quite different jobs.
Yeah, I always said this was absurd. It was crazy. And again, it's the idea.
Absolutely.
So dinner ladies, only largely, the whole thing was it was horribly sexist because the jobs that women were doing were lower paid than the jobs that men were doing, even though there was no bar on men being dinner ladies, for instance, or working on the tills in a supermarket, or women being bin men or working in the warehouse. It just happened there was largely a gender divide. I would have thought for most sane people for rather obvious physical reasons. But these court rulings since have basically said, oh, it's the same work of the same value and they should be paid the same. But of course, there's an awful lot of women apparently don't want to work the early hours of the morning with a load of rubbish in the rain. They'd rather work in a building. What a surprise. So they don't get paid as much. Now, the thing about this is it's not just happening in Birmingham. There are plenty of other councils where this could also be a problem as well, that they're also going to be facing this issue. And that means this is going to be an issue for a lot of other councils. I mean, Brighton, Sheffield and Barnet are just three of those that have been mentioned. And so these bid to sort of recoup some of these costs, and therefore the bin strikes then happening with the unions, it could happen anywhere, couldn't it?
It could. I mean, I don't know the detail of what's happening in these different councils, but what's important to understand is that the situation is uniquely bad in Birmingham because of the incompetence of the Labour administration. As I say, this problem was created in 2017, and we predicted it would happen. And now here we are. We have an equal pay claim. The way to address it is that you have to put a formal grading scheme in place.
Yeah.
and we said in 2017, you have to put this scheme in place. All these years, Labour have failed to do so, and they had a deadline to now do it by the 31st of March this year, 2025. Yep. The deadline has come and gone. They've missed it, and professional opinion is that every month that they fail to put this grading scheme in place, the costs could run up by as much as 14 million per month.
And
on
the
top
grading
of the 760 million we've already estimated.
The grading scheme would ensure that you understand that some jobs will pay more than others, and it's nothing to do with being women or men. It's just simply the quality of the job and the hardship of the job.
Exactly so. although we conveniently call it equal pay,
Yeah.
it's not really equal pay in the sense that we conventionally understand it. It's about this legislation, as I say, that goes back to the Blair era, which caused all this problem.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again,
it's a nonsense. It's a nonsense.
It is an abject nonsense. And again, it's equal value. Well, it's not. I mean, it's just not. I mean, again, it's just madness. You could say, again, bin collectors do a rather more useful job than multi-millionaire Premier League football players who earn, absolute fortune, 100 grand, a week, rather than, 20, 30 grand a year. But we're not asking for bin collectors to get the same as a Premier League football player. So it's abject nonsense, isn't it? Where does this end, though? Because how are people in Birmingham coping? Because I know there are some things you can do without, as we learnt during lockdown. There are quite a lot of people who are not essential personnel. Bin collectors absolutely are. I think a lot of people, if I were living in Birmingham, I'd be saying, bring the army in. It's not the bin collectors being on strike. This is a health necessity, quite apart from anything else. We're going to have diseases spreading. We've got rats the size of not just cats but dogs. We're now being told we need to clear the streets. They need to be safe. And we need to bring the army in and remove the rubbish.
Well, yes, I haven't seen one of these rats as big as a cat or a sheep yet, but I mean, certainly they're getting
big as a horse. They're getting bigger every day.
They're getting bigger every day. Yeah. Look, before we bring the army, there's a few things that we've recommended that should be done. Yeah. Firstly, we should make absolutely sure that those people who want to go to work can go to work. Yeah. And whilst it's fine for lawful picketing, they shouldn't be allowed to obstruct people who want to bring the trucks out to collect the rubbish. Intimidate.
And we have seen that when some bin workers were working, they were then obstructed from getting into the dumps.
Exactly so. So that's the first thing that needs to be done. We need to place a deadline on the offers that have been made for the striking binmen, and they have been offered terms in the sense that what happened in 2017, Labour created this intermediary grade 3. Which now they have to take away in order to stop the equal pay claims. Yeah. And so the drivers have either been offered the opportunity to take a grade 3 elsewhere in the council, they can do extra training and get promoted to a grade 4 driver, or other things.
They're trying to work around it. But there's no deadline, so they're just still out on strike. I mean, they can still be out on strike at the end of the year. I mean, we've seen this. I mean, it's happened in other countries. And I just think it's untenable for the people, the good folk of Birmingham, to deal with this. I mean, unfortunately, they don't. Well, even we're allowed to talk about it, they don't have local elections coming up next month too. They can have their say on it right now. Lucky Birmingham Council, I would say. Appreciate you joining us, Councillor Myrion Jenkins. He's a Conservative councillor at Birmingham City Council. Thank you for that. Claire Pearsall. I mean, I don't know how people cope. It's bad enough having our bins only collected once a fortnight round my way.
Yeah, see, ours are collected once a week.
Ooh, she's fancy. She's fancy.
But the thing is, it's going to cause disease. And
there's a reason why we had bin collections.
Exactly. The cleansing of the street, and it is the street cleansing department and refuse collection. That's what they call it these days. That's what we need. But I also want to see rats the size of sheep, dogs, hows, whatever they are. I want to see that. But we need
not on my street.
Not on my street. But I think that this needs to be dealt with quickly. We can't have another week of this, let alone another month.
I don't understand where these things. And again, it is the local people who are suffering.
Yeah,
it really
absolutely is.
Send in the army. We send them in for everything else. Why not?